Warm greetings from the high 10. It is Everyday Shenanigans. Tonight's commentary is 3 breaking news updates. And the first story is pertaining to an African American rapper who was gunned down in Memphis, Tennessee. The Independent is the source. Young Dolph dead. Rapper shot and killed in Memphis, reports say. Rapper Young Dolph has been shot and killed in Memphis, according to the reports that cite law enforcement sources. He was 36 years of age. An eyewitness has told Fox 13 that the musician who released his debut album, King of Memphis, in 2016 was shot as he walked into a cookie shop. The report says the shooting took place at Makita's Homemade Butter Cookies, and according to TMZ, a shot was fired through the window. Law enforcement also noted that Dolph was accompanied by one other person at the time of the shooting. Later on, a statement was issued from the Memphis Police Department. Memphis Police Department Chief C.J. Davis said, "The preliminary information indicates that the victim is Adolph Robert Thornton Jr. However, this information will be confirmed once the identification process has been completed." This shooting is another example of the senseless gun violence we are experiencing locally and nationwide. Our hearts go out to the Thornton family and all who are affected by this horrific act of violence. I will bring you the said information via the Memphis Police Department. On November 17, 2021 at 12:24 p.m., Memphis police officers responded to the scene of a shooting at 2370 Airways. One male victim was located and was pronounced dead at the scene. No suspect info is available at this time. The preliminary information indicates that the victim is Adolph Robert Thornton Jr. However, this information will be confirmed once the identification process has been completed. And it just reiterates what was said earlier pertaining to the violence here in the United States and locally. This was via the Twitter account of Memphis Police Department. No information is yet known about the shooter. Young Dolph's camouflage-colored Lamborghini can be seen parked outside of the shop of which he is a frequent visitor. He was video promoting the bakery just last week. Young Dolph has previously been a shooting target. In 2017, the rapper was shot several times outside of a trainer shop in Hollywood, which left him needing surgery. Dolph, whose real name is Adolph Robert Thornton Jr., is well known throughout Memphis and hands out turkeys every Thanksgiving. Since breaking out in 2016, Dolph has been a staple of the independent rap scene, particularly in Memphis. In total, his songs have been streamed nearly 4 billion times. The rapper, who has collaborated with the likes of 2 Chainz, Megan Thee Stallion, and Gucci Mane, is survived by 2 children. In the said commentary, there's someone who had posted information pertaining to Young Dolph in a Twitter account. And you can hear and see him here talking. And he's standing outside of Makita's cookie shop, standing outside of an automobile, showing you the cookies that he purchased with a bottle of water. Very sad. Very sad. You can go to Twitter to see the said video. It's on DeKyre Turner's Twitter account. I believe so far that is the only information I have at this moment. But Young Dolph, American rapper, has been gunned down in Memphis, Tennessee at the age of 36 and survived by 2 children. This is very sad. Very sad. We have a lot of crime in our country. And yes, we do have a lot of crime in the African American community. But nonetheless, everyone is not the same, because there are vultures out here who decide to exact crimes against said persons. This is a tragedy. I do not know the motive for the murder of Young Dolph, but I do know that it is senseless nonetheless, because 9 times out of 10, it was about nothing, over nothing. And now a man is dead and leaving children and family members and a community and fans to mourn his senseless death. So my prayers and thoughts are with his family and the rap industry. Once again, we have lost a talented individual. I have listened to his music before. Will continue to listen. And it's sad to me. It's very sad to me, because how terrible is it to be inside of a store and to be gunned down inside of a cookie shop? This man was in a cookie shop Now you put that on paper. Shot through a window. Who knew he was there? Was he followed there? Naturally, his car would stand out. Many people probably know of his car in the community, in the general area. So was this happenstance? Someone found him, had some beef with him. He just so happened to be at the cookie shop and they spotted the car, or someone sent a message saying, hey, his car is here. What happened? How did it come to be that this young African-American man, rap singer, artist, gunned down inside of a business? This is tragic nonetheless, and it's sickening. Others could have been hurt because due to the fact that he was shot inside of a business through a window, others could have been shot as well. And I doubt that he was the only person inside of the cookie shop. So whoever you are, if it's more than one of you, you could have killed other people, injured other people, children. Because children like cookies. You are a coward and a senseless SOB walking around to drive by a store and shoot a man inside of a business. You had some beef with young Dolph. You should have walked up to him directly without any eyewitnesses and anyone around and handled your business. As I said, prayers and thoughts with the family. Thank you all for joining me. This is Everyday Shenanigans. I have another update I'd like to bring to you. As you know, there's a lot of information going on pertaining to trials in this country, and I want to bring you this information pertaining to trial that's taking place here in the United States at this current moment. As most of you know, Kyle Rittenhouse is standing trial, and I'm going to bring you this information. Newsweek is my second source. The jury in the Kyle Rittenhouse homicide trial resumes its second day of deliberation Wednesday. Crowds have gathered outside the courtroom for days as Rittenhouse supports and Black Lives Matter protesters clash over the case. The city of Kenosha, Wisconsin is on alert ahead of a possible verdict. About 500 Wisconsin National Guard troops are to assist local law enforcement control reaction to the trial's outcome. Rittenhouse is charged with 5 felonies, including reckless homicide, intentional homicide, attempted intentional homicide, a misdemeanor charge of possession of a dangerous weapon by a person under 18. He allegedly fatally shot Joseph Rosenbaum and Anthony Huber and wounded Gage Grosskreutz during Black Lives Matter protests in Kenosha in 2020. Rittenhouse, now 18 years old, was 17 at the time of the incident and pleaded not guilty to the charges. The trial captured national attention as some see Rittenhouse as a vigilante and white supremacist who was looking for trouble. I agree. While others believe he acted in self-defense and attended the protest to administer first aid and protect the community from rioters. There have been many dramatic moments during the trial, from Rittenhouse getting emotional on the witness stand to Kenosha County Circuit Judge Bruce Schroeder yelling at the prosecution, to a slew of controversy surrounding comments made by Judge Schroeder that evoked calls of racism and bias. The Kenosha County Sheriff's Department and the Kenosha Police Department confirmed they arrested 2 individuals following an altercation outside of the county courthouse on Wednesday afternoon. Law enforcement took 2 people into custody regarding an incident that occurred on the courthouse steps. A 20-year-old male was arrested for battery, disorderly conduct, and resisting arrest. A 34-year-old female was arrested for disorderly conduct, police said in a statement. The statement added that law enforcement had to deploy several officers to keep crowds of citizens and media from interfering. They also reminded both the media and the public to give space for police to perform their duties. I have to worry if my town can be safe. Kenosha community braces for protests. Having experienced the damage of last year's riots, community members in Kenosha are bracing for what will happen after Kyle Rittenhouse's verdict is read. Catherine Roche, a business owner who lives in town, told News Nation reporter Brian Eaton that she hopes the community remains peaceful despite the outcome. The fact that I have to worry if my town and my children can be safe is not okay, she said. My hope is that if everybody's going to protest, which they are right now, is if they could just be peaceful. Don't burn the town. Don't wreck the businesses. Roche added that they do not live in the wealthiest area of Kenosha, and many people rely on their businesses to get by, adding that many in town were affected by the damage last year and may not be able to afford new repairs. Brian Eaton, as many of you know, who's covered the Gabby Petito disappearance and murder, and Mr. Brian, who was dating her at the time of her disappearance. Many of you know he is now in East Tennessee, or was in East Tennessee, covering the Summer Wells case. He's giving commentary. It says well, kind of jumped off there. Sorry about that. Hold on one second. Gets a little busy around here with my commentary. Sorry about that. These devices are very sensitive. One second. I want to read you what was sent to Mr. Eaton. Hold on one moment. Thank you for your patience. Well, I'm trying. Looks like it doesn't want to upload. Okay. Catherine Roche's business and neighborhood were badly damaged during the Kenosha riots last year. She is on edge today. If my business is gone, I have 6 kids. I have a newborn. I will not be able to take care of my children. She says she can't afford to go through it again. This is by Brian Eaton, November 18, 2021. Justin Blake leads racial justice activists outside of courthouse. Justin Blake, the uncle of 29-year-old Jacob Blake, who was shot 7 times in the back by Kenosha police in August 2020, returned to the courthouse after the second day of deliberations. Leading a group of racial justice activists, Blake chanted 7 shots in the back. That ain't right. And if we didn't get it, shut it down on the courthouse steps following the jury's dismissal. Blake was also seen carrying a Pan-African flag and protesting police earlier in the day after law enforcement arrested 2 people following an altercation outside of the hearing. The jury in Mr. Rittenhouse's homicide trial was dismissed for the day without reaching a verdict, as many of you probably already know this said information. And it says they will be back for day 3 of deliberations at 9 a.m. on Thursday, which is tomorrow. Reporter Michael Tarm said that reporters looked fatigued at the end of their second day, but didn't show any signs of tension. He added that the judge reminded jurors not to discuss the case, with the group nodding and smiling at him. One juror even joked that she didn't sit in the judge's chair while they were reviewing drone video in the courtroom alone. I don't get that. The jury has been deliberating for 17 hours total and will begin the 3rd day of deliberations at 9 a.m. Thursday. And as I said, 2 people got into some type of altercation outside of the courtroom. And this is by Sergio Omis on Twitter. I'm going to play this information just to get a gist of what was going on.
Stop. Back up. Fuck up.
I don't know what that was about. One protester wearing a black coat and sunglasses holding a BLM and Antifa are here sign calls the other protester wearing a black FUCK Kyle shirt a dumb BITCH, and the man throws his sign at them in response. The protester attempts to grab the man's sign from the ground and break it, but another individual grabs it to stop them and both fall to the ground. The man in the black shirt comes back to grab his sign and ends up punching a different person in the face as they come behind him, resulting in clashes between more protesters. Okay, Kenosha police intervene after a fight breaks out. At least 2 people have been arrested, and you will see police out trying to intervene in what seems to be people getting out of control at the courthouse. Obviously, everyone is frustrated and believing that how they feel is the right way to feel.
Back one more time and see what I'm starting to go back. Go back.
All right. That is on Sergio Oma's Twitter page. Kenosha police intervened and arrested 2 people. And as I said, a lot has been going on. And You can go into this article by Newsweek to get the said information. It said the police were trying to control the crowd. Spectrum News reporter Megan Marshall said things got physical between both sides of the crowd. And it's just one inner situation after another. Protesters are shouting no mistrial outside the courthouse as the jury continues to deliberate. Protesters continue outside the courthouse after the defense called for a mistrial over the quality of video evidence they received. Protesters chanted no mistrial. So the defense is obviously upset that they did not get enough quality of video of evidence, which I don't understand that, because you are a right fighter for your client. So you should have enough information to show the court, the jury, to prove your case for your clients. The demonstrations remain mostly peaceful, with occasional arguments and yelling between protesters and Rittenhouse supporters, according to reporters on the scene. A chant of no mistrial outside of Kenosha courthouse. You can see people out there holding signs. Different people giving their commentary pertaining to this case. Different people arguing, bickering amongst one another. This is probably pretty a lengthy article, but I just want to give you just a synopsis of what was going on outside of the courthouse. As I said, we have ventured past day 2. Tomorrow will be day 3 in deliberations for Mr. Rittenhouse, and we will see what happens, what unfolds with the said commentary. We will see what happens. Bring you just a little bit of video of people bickering back and forth with one another and bantering in this said case. This is a sad case because I feel like he had no business going over there to that state, or any state for that matter, his own town. He was underage. He had no business carrying a weapon. He was carrying a weapon underage, which I believe he should be cited for that. His mother, she should be liable for taking him over there. The guy who was his friend that bought the gun, he should be responsible. The father who aided and hid the gun for safekeeping, which was the friend's father, he should also stand account. So we're talking about 3 adults who aided Mr. Rittenhouse into this foolishness across state lines. And I do believe he is a Captain Save-A-Hole. He wants to be important, a clout chaser. He wanted to be known for doing something. And you see this time and time again with a lot of males, especially with a lot of Caucasian males. They want to be into security, the military, law enforcement, to show that they are somebody important, that they can validate their manlyhood, and they end up causing more trouble than aiding the public and helping. I do not believe he went over there to help people. I believe he went over there to show who he was, and what's the proof in the pudding is when he gunned these people down. Never once did he turn himself in, or when he passed law enforcement did he ever say, I surrender, here's my weapon, I just shot a few people. I just killed someone, injured someone. Plural. Never did he turn himself in after he gunned these people down. He went happily on his way back home, never saying a word that he had killed anyone, shot anyone, injured anyone. So does that sound like someone that cares about the law, doing right, aiding people who are sick, hurt, injured, guarding people's property? I brought you content last week that the people who owned the car lot said they did not ask Mr. Rittenhouse nor his others or any other group to guard their property. And naturally, they would say that. Although one brother testified that they saw people out there geared up, and he said, well, look how they were dressed. So he felt like, okay, I'll go ahead and let them guard our property. But look what the end result was. Rittenhouse is a Captain Save-A-Hole like so many males. He wanted to be revered as somebody important. He wanted to be validated. Well, Mr. Rittenhouse, you have now gotten your validation. You're standing trial for murder, attempted murder, and injuring people and other said charges. So you got what you wanted. Hopefully we will get what we want. Those who believe you shouldn't have been out there with a gun in the first place, underage, with a weapon in the state of Wisconsin, your ass go to damn prison. Because you did break the law by carrying a weapon underage, and I do not believe you were there for the right reasons, which was to aid people who were hurt or injured. You wanted to show your masculinity, and you did. And unfortunately, somebody didn't wake up that morning because of your actions. And someone now has a numb arm from your actions. You went looking for trouble, and you found exactly what you were looking for. That is my second source, Newsweek, pertaining to the Rittenhouse trial. My third information is pertaining to the murder of Ahmaud Arbery in the state of Georgia. Source number 3 is Fox News. Thank you for joining me. If you want to donate to the channel, $ Big Angie 129 Cash App. Thank you so much. Ahmaud Arbery trial. Travis Mcmichael takes the stand, says it was a life or death situation. Travis Mcmichael testified tearfully that he thought of his 2-year-old son before shooting Arbery. So you thought of your own child before taking the life of another young man. Is that what you're saying? Because that makes no damn sense. If you thought of your child, then you should have thought of not killing this man. Because who's to say it could have turned around and you could have been shot with your own damn gun? That's foolish talk. I'll bring you the commentary. There's a picture of the judge sitting here talking, and there's been a lot of hoopla pertaining to this judge and commentary out of his mouth, and I'm going to bring you the said information. Fox News is the source. Thank you for joining me. I'll go ahead and read. 1 of 3 white men on trial in Georgia for the murder of Ahmaud Arbery, who was black, took the stand Wednesday in his own defense and said it was a life or death situation. Let me see if it'll play this right here. Hold on one second. This content. We will see. Thank you. Well, these articles are very slow rolling. Sorry. Commercial play. Thank you for joining me. A lot of disturbing things happening in our country. Most of it is race related, sadly. And nothing's going to change because you have people who have poor judgment and idiotic thinking and ignorance. So racism will continue. We will keep having these terrible stories of people exacting harm against African American people. We will have crime. Black on black crime. We will continue to have white on white crime. We will continue to have all races committing crime because they're just people who don't have any damn business walking around nor sucking up the oxygen that's been given to them freely. Thank you all for joining me. Waiting for this commercial to get out, and then I will play the commentary. On trial is Gregory Mcmichael, Travis Mcmichael, and William Roddy Bryan. Well, doesn't like it wants to play. Well, I'll keep reading. As I said, 1 of the 3 white men on trial in Georgia for the murder of Ahmaud Arbery, who was black, took the stand Wednesday in his own defense, saying it was a life or death situation. In emotional testimony, Travis Mcmichael, 35, recounted to jurors the deadly encounter he had with Arbery on February 23, 2020, after he and his co-defendants pursued the unarmed man through Satilla Shores in their truck, suspecting he was a burglar who might be armed. In the said photo, you will see him testifying, Travis Mcmichael. Mcmichael, who is on trial alongside his dad, Greg Mcmichael, 67, and his neighbor, William Roddy Bryan, 52, said he stopped his truck and was standing next to the driver's side door when he spotted Arbery and they locked eyes. He was like a running back, ready to bolt or move any way he wanted, but he's focused on me, Travis Mcmichael, wearing a gray suit and tie, told the panel in Glenn County Superior Court. I'm pretty sure he's going to attack. Mcmichael said he raised up his shotgun to Dieter Arbery, who then darted right toward the passenger side of the truck near where his dad was standing in the vehicle's bed. Arbery then circled around the front of the vehicle back toward Mcmichael. He turns and is on me. He's on me in a flash. He grabs the shotgun, said Mcmichael, whose eyes welled with tears. What were you thinking? Asked defense lawyer Jason Sheffield. I was thinking of my son, replied Mcmichael, his voice quivering. It sounds weird, but that was the first thing that hit me. Mcmichael, a former Coast Guard, told jurors that Arbery was overpowering him and it was a life or death situation. Excuse me. 1 second. Article panned down. When he pulled the trigger. It's a very ridiculous story. I shot again because I was still fighting. He testified. He was all over me. He was still all over that shotgun, and he was not relenting. After the third shot, Arbery disengaged, stumbled a few feet, and collapsed face down on the pavement. According to the video taken by Brian that captured part of the tragic slaying, I was in shock, Travis Mcmichael said. His father checked whether Arbery had a weapon. He did not. There had been a rash of thefts and break-ins the prior months in Satilla Shores, mostly white neighborhood in southern Georgia, Travis Mcmichael said. A few days earlier on February 11th, he saw Arbery creeping around an under construction house a few doors down, and he called 911. Arbery had been spotted on surveillance footage at least 4 times in the unoccupied house, including on the day he was shot. There is no evidence Arbery took anything from the property. On Sunday afternoon, the day of the killing, Greg Mcmichael spotted Arbery hauling ASS by his house and called his son. The two men grabbed their guns, hopped into a pickup, and pulled up beside Arbery, who Travis Mcmichael said he recognized from the February 11th encounter. Travis Mcmichael told Arbery to stop and tried to speak to him, he told jurors. He looked very angry, Travis Mcmichael testified. He was mad, which made me think something is happening. When he told Arbery the police were on their way, the young man turned and took off running, he said. Arbery never uttered a word. The chase continued for 4 minutes before ending with the tussle over the shotgun and Arbery dead. On cross-examination, Linda Dunikoski questioned the wisdom of pursuing Arbery. You didn't tell your dad this was a really, really bad idea that could go really wrong for us and we should just call 911? No, he replied. Prosecutors have said that Arbery was an avid jogger who lived less than 2 miles from where he was killed. The 3 men had no legitimate reason to suspect Arbery of wrongdoing and had no legal right to detain him, Dunikoski has argued. Brian's attorney, Kevin Gow, tried to distance his client from the McMichaels. Brian, who was unarmed, witnessed the commotion and joined the chase in his black truck because Arbery's behavior seemed suspicious, he told investigators. When Mr. Arbery passes Mr. Brian's house, with all due respect, we know why, Gow told jurors Wednesday. He said Brian never intended to harm Arbery. Mr. Brian was at that time attempting to take a video and record Mr. Arbery rather than shoot him or hurt him or be a part of that, the attorney stated. He added that Brian immediately shared the video he took with police, a key piece of evidence in the case. The 3 defendants are charged with murder, aggravated assault, false imprisonment, for which they face up to life in prison. I'm going to go back and recap something that was said about him peeping around a house. As they said, one of them, that there had been a rash of break-ins and thefts in Satilla Shores. A few days earlier, on February 11th, he saw Arbery creeping around an under-construction house a few doors down and called 911. Arbery had been spotted on surveillance footage at least 4 times in the unoccupied house, including on the day he was shot. There's no evidence that he ever took anything. So you called 911. I do believe I heard audio from a police officer stating that they were looking for him, that possibly this suspect jumped the fence, if indeed this was Mr. Arbery. But as you see, he was never found, never apprehended, never arrested. Perhaps he just liked looking at empty houses, liked looking around at the construction. Don't you think by now he would have stole something before this incident, if indeed he was out scouring places to rob? The only thing he could have stolen was copper. That is a popular thing that people steal from houses under construction, buildings under construction. But the gist of the story is that Mr. Arbery was never arrested for theft of anything in the neighborhood, that said house or any other houses, cars, homes. So perhaps he was just somebody that liked peering around. Maybe he was going through something. I don't know. I wasn't there. But the point is, you don't have him on record or video stealing anything, breaking into anything. And we as citizens can go by places and look and peer. Now, naturally, it's private property. One can say, well, he was trespassing. Okay, I'll give you that. But did he take anything? Did he harm anyone? Did he vandalize anything? He did not. And the police never apprehended him or arrested him for theft of any said person's home, car, in the neighborhood. And that's what I stand on. And I don't know what's going on with this judge, what his problem is. I don't know what's wrong with this stupid lawyer making nasty comments about how many pastors they're going to have in the courtroom. It doesn't matter how many pastors they want to have in the courtroom. It's called support. And you are showing your ignorance, such as the person you're defending. And that's why you're in court defending an MF for shooting a black man for that same ignorance. And you're displaying that in the courtroom and making nasty comments about having a certain type of person in the courtroom as a juror to resemble your client, a said Bubba. So you are exactly like your client. You also are racist. And I pray the 12 members of this jury put all 3 in prison. Because in the end, you had no right to approach him. You had no right to corner him, bump him with the said truck, carry a gun to the scene. You did not see him in the act of committing a crime. And by law, that is the only time a citizen can detain another citizen is if they witness another citizen committing a said crime. And neither of you saw Ahmaud Arbery commit a crime on that said day in February. You did what you wanted to do, which is what you people have been doing for years, your kind. Taking the law into your own hands. Racially profiling people on a whim because you can. Regular citizens and law enforcement. It's been going on since the beginning of time, and it's going to continue to go on. Until somebody puts you in your place and tell you, you cannot just pull people over, stop people, follow people, pull guns on people, rifles. Because you can, and because the color of your skin is lighter than a dark man, brown man. It's not your place. And now a man is dead. And I got a glimpse of his photo as a dead man. And it's striking to see a man face scarred up from being shot because somebody racially profiled him and thought he was doing something wrong. And that's a hell of a picture to see as a parent, to see your child lying dead. And nothing was done to aid or help him. No one stepped in to stop these men. Nothing. Nobody was there for Ahmaud Arbery. And can you imagine how fearful he felt seeing 3 white men corner him with a rifle, bumping him with a truck, and he was trying to fight for his life to get out of there. So hell yeah, he grabbed your damn gun. Hell yeah, he's trying to push your ass out the damn way. He wanted to live, and you took him. You took that from him, his right to live, his right to move about freely. You violated his personal space and you snuffed him out cowardly, coldly, disrespectfully, inhumanely. And yet you sit in court and say you thought about your 2-year-old son. Well, you didn't think about going to jail for the rest of your life and your 2-year-old growing up without a father. Did you think about that? Of course not. You wanted to get that black boy out of